my fellow South Africans, mothers, fathers, sons and daughters of our beautiful rainbow nation. Our democracy is incomplete. We did not finish the transition of 1994. And that's why our country is in a crisis. Democracy means power to the people. But as we all know, in South Africa, democracy means power to the ANC. Now, how did we get into this crisis? Why are we in this crisis? Some say we are in this crisis because the ANC isn't what it used to be. Others say we are in this crisis because we didn't take our land back. They say if you see an open piece of land, then you must occupy it. Others say that it is Jacob Zuma's fault. Don't worry, if you give the ANC enough time, it will self-correct. If the ANC isn't what it used to be, then what changed it? If we occupy every open piece of land, isn't that chaos? We have already given the ANC 25 years to govern in South Africa. Should we really waste 25 years more? The reason why South Africa is in this crisis, my fellow citizens, is because the ANC has made many mistakes. And the ANC has committed many crimes against us, the people of South Africa. And no one could stop them. We have a system in this country that gives the ANC unstoppable power and that does not give the people the power to stop their leaders once they have gone too far. We cannot wait for the fire to burn itself out. If we do, we will have nothing left. Mr. Jacob Zuma put it very well. He said, the ANC comes first and South Africa last. We did not finish the business and the transition of 1994. In 1994, the ANC, or rather political parties, were supposed to negotiate on how they will give power back to the people. Isn't this what the ANC always says? Power to the people? But instead of negotiating how to give power to the people, political parties negotiated on how they will share power amongst themselves. This is the reason why today even a small political party can have a seat in parliament and can have a say and can be listened to. Many times wasting our time and wasting our money. But when the people of this country are unhappy, and when the people are marching in the streets, in their droves and in their multitudes, they are either killed, like in Marikana, or they are ignored, like the Zuma must fall protests. My fellow citizens, the problem of this country is political parties have too much power. They have given themselves too much power and nothing for the people of this country. Political parties appoint people in every position of power and authority and benefit. Nothing for the people. Remember, my fellow citizens, it was not the people of this country that removed Thabo Mbeki. It was the ANC. Remember, my fellow citizens, it is the ANC that protects Jacob Zuma against the will of the people. Political parties have too much power. The power of political parties leads to cadre deployment. Cadre deployment simply means that political parties use taxpayer money and public resources to reward loyal political party members and to keep them loyal. Cadre deployment and the incompetence and the looting and the stealing that comes with it is the reason, and rather is the big parasite that is sucking this economy dry. Cadre deployment is the reason why our primary education in this country is so poor and bereft of quality. Cadre deployment and the looting and stealing in Eskom and in SAA is the reason why today we don't have enough money to fund free higher education. Cadre deployment, this big parasite on our economy, is the reason why we have such great unemployment, a waste of the youth of this country, and the reason why we have such great social disunity. People would argue, probably rivaling the disunity that we had in apartheid times. My fellow citizens, it is time for us to make a change. It is time for us to refocus ourselves. It is time for us to focus on expanding the small economy that we have inherited from the apartheid era. This is an economy that was meant for a white minority. By focusing exclusively on redistribution, we are not solving any of this country's problems. To divide a small cake is not going to make it bigger. My fellow citizens, education is at the heart of all our aspirations. Education is the driver of transformation. Education is the alleviation of poverty. Education is the calculated solution to all this country's problems. Education is the cure to all the ailments of our democracy. Hence, education should be this nation's highest priority. My fellow citizens, it is time for us to address the problem at its root, the cause of this current crisis that this country is experiencing. And that root and that cause is but one. Political parties have too much power and the people have none. My fellow citizens, this imbalance of power is the reason why we are where we are today. Taking this absolute power away from the ANC and giving this absolute power to the DA or the EFF, this will not change our situation. This will not stop the crisis. Because if you give this absolute power that corrupted the ANC, if you give this absolute power to the DA, the EFF, or anyone else, it will corrupt them as well. The solution to our crisis and this imbalance is to change our electoral system. to allow the people of this country to elect their leaders directly, and to allow this people of this country the power to remove their leaders, to stop their leaders, once their leaders no longer serve the people of this nation, but only serve themselves. In order for us to make this change, I call on electoral system reform. I ask you to support me so that we can complete our democracy and turn it into a direct democracy. At the moment, it is an indirect democracy. I call on you to ensure that we allow power to the people. At the moment, it is power to the political parties. We must have this electoral reform before we have the next election. Otherwise, in future, we will have the same problem and the same crisis. My fellow citizens, I humbly ask for your support. And you can support me by watching this video and by sharing this video as far and as wide as possible, and to think about the things that I mentioned here, and to think about this imbalance of power that we have. And to raise your voice alongside mine, calling for electoral system reform. Let's give power back to the people where power belongs. Thank you.